Dmitry Chernyshenko has, during the 29th Russian-Chinese Commission meeting in China, has stated that Russia is focused on strengthening friendly relations and strategic cooperation with China. He has emphasized that building a comprehensive, equal and trusting partnership with China remains a top foreign policy priority. Chernyshenko has highlighted that Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping held 2 in-person meetings this year, setting key goals to expand trade and economic ties. The Deputy Prime Minister has described the dialogue as regular, systematic, and based on high levels of trust and mutual understanding. He has further added that China is Russia's most important global partner, reinforcing bilateral cooperation on international issues. Now, for this discussion, we welcome back Martin Tsai-Reitz. He's a foreign affairs expert, joins us live from Quito. Thank you very much, Martin, for staying with us. Now, how do you look at the deepening ties and partnerships of Russia and China? How does it reshape global power dynamics amid many Western sanctions on Russia and isolation efforts on them?
I think it all comes from this new Cold War that we're experiencing right now, starting by the international economic war that was started by Trump. But I think right now, China and Russia, they are putting their efforts together in order to not be behind. They're realizing that the U.S. is expanding its influence in NATO, in other regions of the world, and that is a natural reaction. I think obviously Russia and China, they have like similar interests, and this is a complete natural alliance. So I think these developments come from a more polarized world, coming from this economical war.
And could this growing Russia-China alignment challenge Western influence in global governance and security frameworks?
Of course. I mean, Russia is concerned about the increasement of the budget of NATO and the increased influence from the US in NATO and the European Union, and China is also concerned about its economical war. So this is a natural strategy that it aims to minimize the impact of the economical war and the geostrategic efforts from NATO to overcome the Russian influence.
Thank you very much, Martin, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we stay on this topic now. The Kremlin has indicated there is no need for a meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, while Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has acknowledged a meeting is hypothetically possible. He has stressed that detailed work on a peace settlement remains the priority. Trump had previously suggested a potential summit in Budapest, claiming progress in peace talks. However, he later shelved the plans, citing Moscow's refusal to halt fighting along the front line. The U.S. president has also imposed sanctions on Russia's top oil companies, Rosneft and Lukoil, further straining relations. Despite claims by Putin's envoy that a deal with U.S. mediation is near, Russia continues to insist on maximalist conditions, including Ukraine ceding the entire Donetsk Oblast territory. Now we welcome back Martin Tsai-Reitz. He's a foreign affairs expert, joins us live from Quito. Thank you very much, Martin, for staying with us. Now, looking at this openly Kremlin's dismissal of a possible Trump-Putin meeting, what is your analysis on the current state of U.S.-Russia relations and the prospects of peace negotiations for Ukraine between them?
I think in the last months, there has been a deterioration of the relations between the U.S. and Russia, coming from an approach from Ukraine and an approach actually from the U.S. to the Ukrainian interests. I think the message here is that the Kremlin is saying that the only way that there should be a dialogue between Trump and Putin should be in a peace agreement, not like in an equal stage, not in a subordination, in a stage of subordination. So This is a clear message. I hope that both parties come into terms in order to end the war. But nonetheless, I think the relationship has been deteriorating itself the last months.
And how do Russia's maximalist condition shapes the likelihood of any meaningful progress towards a negotiated settlement?
It has both sides. First of all, it's a clear example of deterrence, but on the other hand, coming from a very strong leader like Trump, it can actually also be negative for an agreement. I think we will see the next developments, how the U.S. relates to Russia. First, like we saw in the past, there has been a lot of critics from the U.S. towards Russia because of the use of weapons on war that were absolutely forbidden according to the Treaty of 2019. So we will see how the developments go and how Trump relates to Russia's decisions.
And do you think the sanctions are still effective, and also the European sanctions and US sanctions on Russian oil companies?
I think these sanctions are absolutely affecting the Russian economy, and therefore they're affecting their budget in also military terms. But I don't think it's going to change Putin's mindset or Putin's interest. Russia is very clear on its interest, and Russia is giving a clear message that they're not willing to give up. So it is actually being negative towards Russia, economically talking, but it's not giving a direct effect in the military and the geopolitical situation.
With that, I would like to thank Martin Seibreitz for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we come back to you for our next discussion.